Hey guys, what is going on? We're going to be doing something a little bit different here today. We're actually going to be talking about COD 2022, all the speculation surrounding it, whether it's going to be actually a follow-up sequel to the Modern Warfare in 2019, which I definitely think it's going to be Modern Warfare 2. It makes sense for it to be. So we're going to be talking about all the speculation, pretty much everything that we either do know, might be able to guess, or something that's just pure speculation here. We've got a lot of information to go over in this video, so it might be a little bit on the longer side, but if you do enjoy this stuff and you do want to see more content like it, make sure you do hit that subscribe button with those notifications turned on. I do very much appreciate it, and it really does help me out. Of course, we are still looking for 6,000 subscribers, and if you could help me achieve that goal, that would be absolutely massive. So, speculation surrounding COD 2022 is pretty much all based around like it being a sequel and a follow-up to Modern Warfare 2019. This is pretty much the worst kept secret in gaming at the moment. Simply, it just makes sense for them to follow the Modern Warfare 2019 story that they did put in like a couple of years ago. Plus, with how Call of Duty is doing at the moment, which is not good by the way, they're definitely going to be relying on that nostalgia the same way that they did with Modern Warfare. So we are most likely going to be seeing, if not all of our favorite characters from the Modern Warfare 2 series. We're going to get some Price back again. That's very, very obvious here. Soap's going to be making a comeback as well. I'm pretty sure he was already a character within like the operator system that you could pick. So I imagine he's going to be a very, very easy option to come back. We might even see another different skin in Warzone, you know, the game and stuff like that. Roach is also a possibility to come back. He was one of the cooler characters in that game. And I'm not sure if there's anybody that I'm missing here, but we are going to be separating this video, of course, with timestamps into the different categories. So if you are interested in something specific, like a potential release date or even like a potential weapon list that we could see in the game, feel free to just skip to that point. So starting us off here with a release date. Now, we definitely do not know the release date, and we might not know the release date for a little while. But just like most years with Call of Duty, we can expect COD 2022 to release somewhere in late October or pretty early or mid-November. That's my guess, as that is pretty standard for Call of Duty. Modern Warfare 2019 was the 25th of October, Cold War was the 13th of November, and Vanguard was the 5th of November. So the release window is pretty much locked in by my guess. But with pandemic related things, you know what I'm talking about. We can never put a firm date on these things, even when the developer does come out and say, like I believe it's going to be Infinity Ward at this point, like it pretty much has to be. I'm pretty sure it's their turn to make a Call of Duty. And them saying, yep, it's releasing on this date. Even still these days, it's not set in stone. They might push it back. It might get sort of sent back a little bit. Like, you never know how these things go. So I would expect it to be around late October, sort of early mid-November. But again, it's not really set in stone just yet. It does appear that COD 2022 is codenamed Project Cortez, which really doesn't mean anything to me, but it is an interesting thing as well, and that might mean something to somebody out there. No specific platform information is out there just yet, and this is a pretty big point of interest. Now, me personally, I'm kind of over COD being stretched over like 10 different platforms. You might think that it's just PC, Xbox, and PlayStation that they have to worry about, but in reality, the developers actually have to make the game playable on literally 5 different types of Xboxes, including the original Xbox One, then the Slim, then the Xbox One X, then the Xbox Series S, and then the Xbox Series X. That's 5 different Xboxes that they have to make the game playable on. There's also 4 different types of PlayStations that they have to do this, including the original PS4, then the PS4 Slim, which I think might be different hardware, very slightly, and then of course there is the PS4 Pro, and then there's the PS5, and then there's the PS5 Digital Edition, which again is the similar hardware to the PS5 normally, so that's not really something that they have to change. But again, that's 4 or 5 different PlayStations, and then there's all the different computers that they have to consider out there when you do try and put this thing on PC. So some of these systems are even like 9 years old now, and the game does suffer as a result, as we have seen with Vanguard. I typically don't have a problem in Vanguard. I get some crashes every now and then, but I've had crashes in every Call of Duty game since I started making videos on them. It's just what happens. But reality out there is some of you guys are playing the games on PS4. Even Warzone on PS4 doesn't actually work anymore. Like, it's completely broken. I don't think you can actually play Modern Warfare on PC at the moment. I think that's broken too. So having to like stretch all of the developer time over about 10 different platforms really does make it hard to develop the game and have it perform appropriately on each different platform. In saying that, because of the unavailability of the PS5 and the Xbox Series S and X, it's going to be tough for them to just put it solely on the new platforms and of course PC. So based on an educated guess here, I would say we're going to get a cross-gen tier stuff again to let as many people play the game as possible. And here's to fingers crossed that they actually do manage to get it operating and running on everything, because I mean, that's been an absolute mess with Vanguard, because I mean, I have no problems with it, like I said, but some people on PS4 and stuff, like the original Xboxes, they can't play the game, so that is very rough here. We already know of some of the maps that are going to be available. There was a leak a little while ago that did basically say that a remastered Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer was supposed to be floating around. and some of the maps that they were making were supposed to be in this, including like your fan favorites, like your favelas, your terminals, your high-rises, and stuff like that. There were 5 classic Modern Warfare maps that were reported to be in development for that, and then they ended up getting scrapped. Like, they ended up scrapping the Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer, and they're most likely going to be using those maps that they did make and sort of program for that game. And of course, in this game, that makes perfect sense. We love favela, we love terminal, we love high-rise. Shipment appears to be making a return as well, which I'm kind of sick of at this point. And we also might end up seeing Quarry as well. I'm also sure that we're going to be seeing a lot more classic maps as more information does come to light, including the DLC maps that we're definitely bound to get as well. We might even see some Modern Warfare maps from 2019 come back as well because of how popular they were. Like, I love seeing a lot of the maps that did come back in that game. That was one of my favorite things about that year's Call of Duty. All of the remade maps are just so good. But as I said, there is a lot of room for scope with classic maps to get added to the game, which is very exciting. I would love to see a remake of Afghan, the big old crash C-130 being in the middle of the map, and then you run around the caves and stuff like that. I think that'd be a very cool addition to Call of Duty 2022. Moving on to some less concrete stuff here, we've actually seen an indication that Modern Warfare 2 is going to have a game mode similar to Escape from Tarkov, which, if you're not aware, is basically like a stealth looting game with like first-person shooter elements. Basically, you have to gather loot within a certain like area of the map, and then try and extract with your gear, and then you get that gear, and then you take that gear into a different map, I believe. I'm not 100% sure exactly how it's played, but that's sort of the similar gameplay loot that you do get. You go get loot, you try and escape, you die, you lose that loot, I believe. Now, I actually do expect this to be very cool. Tarkov is a very popular game with a massive fan base, so Call of Duty trying to emulate that, trying to basically take that idea is very cool. However, we did recently see Battlefield 2042 try and do something similar with the extraction point game mode, I think it was. I can't remember off the top of my head, but no one's playing Battlefield, like the new Battlefield anyway, so It does appear that this may end up being its own standalone game similar to Warzone, but again, this is kind of just speculation, and even if this game mode does exist, we'll have to wait and see how this actually plays, or even if there is even real, we'll have to wait and see with this thing. But it does actually sound very cool. Escape from Tarkov is something that I've been wanting to get into for a very long time, but just haven't got around to doing, so having it be in a Call of Duty game like that, easily accessible, and hopefully free to play maybe if it's a separate thing, we'll have to wait and see. Now, something else I did find was a little bit of a weapon list here, and again, I'm not 100% sure exactly how accurate this will end up being, but as I said, I did manage to find a little bit of a potential weapons list here. Now again, pure speculation, but I'm going to read it out anyway because it's pretty cool, and it's mostly stuff that we can expect, like your various AK variants, an MK47 potentially, a Beretta ARX160, MP5Ks, MP9s, MP7s, UMP45s, Spaz 12, Berettas, CZ pistols, BFG 50 cal, an intervention, Winchester 92 of course. There will be loads more weapons in the game, but that is just a sort of tiny little list that I did find on the internet somewhere looking around. But it appears after a brief look, these are some of the weapons that we're going to get. But again, we're going to have to wait and see what we do end up with, and I'm sure we're going to be seeing a large collection of very popular weapons. I'd love to personally see, and I'm sure many of you out there will also love to see the ACR come back. I mean, that's like the Call of Duty gun. If you know anything about Call of Duty, you know the MP7 and you know your ACRs. Like that's literally it. Modern Warfare 3 ACR, Modern Warfare 2 ACR, that was it, man. Like, that was all there was. But I also saw somewhere speculating that that might not be a thing, but again, it's one of those options where you might end up being able to build a secret super special variant like you could with like a G36C. With like the Holger 26, you replace some of the attachments and make it a different weapon style. So it could be one that we see like that. You end up making a bit of an ACR style weapon that looks very similar, but maybe they're not including it in the game. We'll have to wait and see. It'd be a real shame if they didn't include it though. In terms of the Gunsmith here, I would expect a very similar system to what we see in Modern Warfare 2019, with a massive variety of attachments available to ensure they can still sell as many weapon blueprints as possible in the store. That is basically what they sort of make all their money on. Obviously, you sell the games, but most of their money comes from microtransactions in the store, people buying weapon variants, the battle pass, and so on. I would expect a larger variety of attachment choices though, with even more different ammo types, even weapon ammo calibers, various grip sights, and other attachments to make every single weapon feel like it is different. But I would love to see them go back to just a very standard 5 attachment route rather than Vanguard's 10 attachment choices. I've even seen a little bit of speculation floating around that we could go back to complete basics like your Modern Warfare 2 style and just have a couple of attachments on your gun. If you end up with just like your ACR with like your red dot and then like a barrel attachment, maybe just a couple of attachments would take it back to roots and just make it feel very vanilla. But people love the customization, and I can't really see them doing that because, as I mentioned, they really do want to sell as many weapon blueprints in the store, and if you can only have 2 weapon attachments, I mean, that doesn't allow them to do that. So that's probably not going to happen, but it'd be cool to see as well go completely back to basics, and you can put like 1 or 2 attachments on that thing. It'd be very interesting to see. I believe attachments should make it feel like you do have choices, and that is why I would much rather see you have 5 attachment choices rather than 10 attachment choices like we do see in Vanguard. really in Vanguard, you are just slapping something in every slot because you can. There's no real downsides to increasing and filling up those weapon slots because, I mean, it is what it is here. Makes the gun very, very powerful most of the time. But in terms of Modern Warfare and even Cold War style class design, basically you should have to make sacrifices about what you put on your gun. Like, I'd really love this barrel and ammo combination, but I would probably have to sacrifice my optic if I also wanted to include a grip and an underbarrel and maybe even a stock. So hopefully we do see a return to the approach made popular by Modern Warfare and even Cold War in this regard, because that is my favorite style of class design. Basically having to make choices, give up something just to get something a little bit more powerful in that regard as well. I would love to see a return to that. But that's pretty much everything I could find for today. It is very, very early in the year to be speculating about Call of Duty 2022. But hopefully as the year does roll by, we do get more information about COD 2022, whether it is going to be a Modern Warfare 2 remake. I definitely do expect it to be a Modern Warfare 2 sequel. Not like a remake multiplayer of the previous game, but a sequel to Modern Warfare, just to grab onto that nostalgia train like they did in 2019. Plus, it's easy pickings with so many popular maps to choose from, like your terminals and your high rises. People would be all over it. Plus, with the state that Call of Duty is in at the moment, which is basically just dead, there was more people watching people sleep on Twitch the other day than they were watching Vanguard, which is obviously not good. So having something to basically revive the series, bring it back. But once we do run out of stuff to sort of revive, what are we going to do? Like, what are we going to move on to then? Maybe we go back into the future, something a little bit more like Advanced Warfare. Maybe that's what people want to see. It's very hard to tell at the moment exactly what people want, but just something a little bit different. I feel like the World War II theme is a little old, a little stale, a little bit played out at the moment. And I still enjoy Vanguard. I think it's one of the better Call of Duty games going around, but I don't really see what a lot of you guys see out there on your problems on your PS4 original consoles. I don't see those problems, so I don't have that experience, and I know you guys struggle with that kind of thing. So it's definitely very, very interesting. I would definitely want to see them make it only for the newer consoles and of course PC, but again, that does raise the issues with the availability of those newer consoles, so it's a mess, man. It's tough out here for Call of Duty, but we have to wait and see what happens. If you do want to see more content like this, speculating about the future of Call of Duty in 2022 and just moving into Vanguard as well, make sure you do hit that subscribe button with those notifications turned on. I do very much appreciate it, and it really does help me out. And of course, we are still looking for 6,000 subscribers, and if you could help me achieve that goal, that would be absolutely massive. Thank you very much for watching, as I said, and hopefully I will see you in the next one. Bye!